Hi there, I'm Mr. Mark, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a snowman bottle cap ornament. Looks just like we just showed you there a second ago, and I'll put that together and I'll show you what you need and talk you through the steps on it. So, as you can see, first we need some bottle caps. Now I'm using craft bottle caps that I bought from the craft store. They're a little more flat, a little more even, and a little bit bigger, look a little prettier. If you want to use actual bottle caps for bottles, that's up to you. You just have to make sure you get the size that you want, and if they aren't ones that screw off, they might be a little bit bent, but that's up to you. But you can find these at any craft store. So we're going to be using those. We're going to be using 3 of them for the 3 different parts of the snowman. And then also we're going to be doing some paint. I'm using acrylic paint. I'll also use some pen markers. I'll show you how, some paint markers, I'll show you how those work here in a second. And for the hat and the scarf, those are made out of felt, so we need our felt and a pair of scissors. And the top of the hat is a palm ball, and that's hot glued, as the hat is also hot glued together. And for the hanging part, it's just a ribbon, and that is also hot glued on there. So let me talk you through some parts. First, we're going to need our bottle caps. And you can do this in a lot of different ways. You can see I use these jump rings to hook them together. You can use those, there's bigger ones, there's smaller ones, and this kind of gives it a jiggling effect when it moves around. But if you don't want it to move so much, you can also hot glue them on the back, each one, with ribbon if you don't want to use jump rings. If you're using the jump rings, you do have to punch a hole in them. And you wouldn't have to use jump rings, you could also use string or something like that. But for today, I'll have some jump rings here. So I have a hole punch here, and this is a bead punch. This is for going through like thin metal, and I'm going to use it on my bottle cap here, and I'm just going to eyeball it here. And let me punch it through, and then I'll show you and tell you a couple other things about using these bottle caps. And just punch this through, makes the hole right there, and that's where we attach a jump ring. Now when I'm doing my painting today, you'll see that I'm going to be doing the painting on the inside of the cap. I've seen other people make these where they use this side for the snowman. You might like that, maybe you like that effect a little bit. And also some people paint the whole thing white. You'll see on the one I used, I just painted the inside white because I kind of like the silver around the outside. So let me go ahead and I'm going to do a little bit of painting here. So let me get my acrylic paint and shake it up. I'm going to use white here. Pour some on. And I'm going to use this kind of fine brush, squeeze it out. And I'm just going to paint on the inside. Like I said, I'm just going to do the inside. I'm doing a little bit rough because it will take a couple coats, and it's up to you exactly, you know, how white you want it to be. Well, in the finished ornament that we showed, I did 2 coats. So like I said, I did that and I left the other part silver, and I'm going to set that to the side and let it dry. And if you're doing all 3 parts, I'd say go ahead and do them 1, 2, 3, set them aside, and they take 15-20 minutes to dry. And then like I said, I did 2 coats of paint on with these. And then when I was ready to do the detail, you can use acrylic paint again if you're doing your detail, doing your carrot nose and your other features. But I decided to use these paint pens. Let me show you what the tip looks like. And I like them because they have a fine tip. It's up to you if you want to use paint or want to use the paint pens. These were a little easier for me, so I decided to use that, and that's what I used for the detail, for the carrot nose and for the mouth and all of that. I use paint pens for that, and there's different brands that you can get. And then once I had that part done, I went ahead and I got my jump rings to attach my bottle caps. And these are used for like jewelry. And like I said, I use kind of larger ones. You can get smaller ones, depends on how much you want it to move around. And you attach it through the bottle cap. And then you use these pliers here to close the ring onto it. So it'll hold it tight and hold the bottle caps together. And I use those. And then I went ahead and I assembled that part. And then I was ready to go ahead and add the clothing on. So like I said, I used felt, used green felt for the scarf, and did red and white together to make the hat. And then I used a palm ball for the top. So cut the scarf, cut the hat, hot glued the scarf one, hot glued the hat together, and then hot glued the hat to the bottle cap. And then the last step I was ready to make was to make the hanging part. So I used some ribbon, and here I have the spool of it. So I like this one because the green kind of went with the scarf, and it was kind of like not real wide. I thought it went very well. So I cut it, and then on the back I just hot glued it to the top part of the snowman. And then I just let it dry for a while. And it was all ready. So it takes a number of things, but it's fairly easy to make, and you can make a couple of them. You can do them at a time. Do that. You can make different ones. I've seen people add a button onto the scarf. I've seen people use a pipe cleaner for arms. However you want to do it. And that's how you make the snowman bottle cap ornament. Thank you so much for watching me.